I tell you about you, you disagree, then you tell me about me, and I disagree. And then I tell you again with more energy about you, and you disagree with more energy, then you tell me about me, and I disagree with more energy. We're trying to change from that to I tell you about me, and you listen to me. We kind of build this traumatic experience with other people that we love into our exchange over time. And now I've decided to change. Like, I got a bunch of skills, I got a bunch of insight, I'm all ready to change, and everybody else is still traumatized.
So when we get in there, I'm like, do you care about your wife's needs? He goes, of course I do. I just don't think that I can ever meet them because I'm doing it wrong every single time I try. We're searching for, let's find a problem that we both want to solve. Mm-hmm. And that is the best way for us to make momentum in our marriage is we're going after the same problem rather than you telling me how much I'm not working on something.
And so instead of saying something mean or something controlling or something punishing, I'm going to say, ouch. And now she's going to know he's protecting me by letting me see him instead of he's trying to control me from hurting him any further by intimidating me. So you're going to provide leadership by being the most vulnerable in the conversation, by being honest, telling the truth.
Hello and welcome to the KYLO Show. We are live again with all of our fun callers and questions.
Real life people, real life questions, real life time. It's pretty cool. I love this adjustment.
Real life coffee. I don't know. I want to say something that was real life because you were on a roll. So
yes,
real life.
Real life.
Real life.
Real life. Touching lives, changing lives in real life time.
So we won't stall you anymore. We should jump into our question. Hello, Victoria. How are you doing today?
Hi, Brittany, Danny. It's great to see you. I'm good. Thank you.
Hello.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on the KYLO Show. Appreciate it. Well, we hear you have a question for us.
Yes. Thank you for having me. So I would love it if you guys could do a little deeper dive into the difference between listening better than someone is talking and managing someone else, especially in the context of someone that maybe isn't particularly interested in managing themselves and maybe would rather have me be responsible for them.
Yeah. So just to clarify, when you say managing someone else, you mean that they're being disrespectful and you're not wanting to participate?
That's a good question. It could be that, but it could also just be that they don't want to be responsible for adjusting. So if they are in a conversation and maybe, boy, I am not doing this well. Sure, we can go in the disrespectful route.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify because I think I can't really manage anyone. It's kind of like managing someone kind of sounds like controlling someone, which I'm pretty sure we all know we can't control anyone but ourselves, right? You know this.
Yes.
So that's why I was just trying to clarify that piece. But I think that if I am actively listening to somebody and they start attacking me, let's say that that's what the experience starts to change into, and I'm trying to be an active listener and do a good job of prioritizing the goal of connection and using my iMessages, but I feel attacked by this person. And so what's the fine line between being a good active listener and not taking abuse? So if that were the case and that's the exchange, I would say, hey, I'm not sure what it is that you're needing, but the way that you're communicating with me is becoming hurtful. I would love to hear what it is that you need and how I can help and we can solve this problem as long as you're going to be respectful. But if that's not something you're interested in, then I'm all done having this conversation.
Sure.
So, I mean, and that's what I think about when I was hearing your question, but I could be totally off. Do you have a different thought at all?
Well, I think the whole idea of listening better than the person is talking is listening past the words that are coming out of their mouth, so you sound hurt, you sound scared, you sound disconnected, you sound threatened of something. And is that what you're saying? Is that what you're feeling? Is that what's going on with you? So you're needing to feel safe. You're needing to are you needing an apology? Or you need? So I'm listening past what there's, because they're just barking out. You always do this, and you never listen, and all you want is what you want. And you've just always been like, so like the whole way come back. You're like, okay, so you sound really frustrated, and you sound maybe like you're feeling powerless in some part of our relationship. Is that what you're saying? No, I don't feel powerless, and I don't feel anything you just said. I feel nothing. I feel superior. I'm Superman. I'm made of, whatever Superman's made out of. Steel. I'm made out of steel. That's what I am. Like, okay, so you sound like you are feeling protective of something here, and I'm not sure what it is. And don't tell me what I'm feeling. You don't know what I'm feeling. So, okay, now I'm not trying to be judgmental in any way. I just want you to feel safe. But if this conversation doesn't need to happen right now, I'm happy to leave it. I'm happy to talk later. If you're done, if you don't want to have this conversation, which it sounds like you don't, then we could have it later. Oh, there you go again. Just leaving our conversation. You can't even handle the truth. You just always like, well, I tell you what, I am going to leave this conversation because it's not helping to have it. So maybe if you can let me know what's going on with you, I'd be happy to listen. But I don't want to spend any time listening to you tell me about me. And that is going to be a cycle that happens when you're trying to change the dynamic between you and other people, because they're used to the old cycle we had, which is I tell you about you, you disagree, then you tell me about me and I disagree. And then I tell you again with more energy about you and you disagree with more energy. Then you tell me about me and I disagree with more energy. And we're trying to change from that to I tell you about me and you listen to me, and you tell me about you and I listen to you. And it just takes a little while because we're so trained throughout our whole life of being judged by other people and deciding whether or not to go along with it or fight it.
Sure, that makes sense.
Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Yeah. It's some relational dynamics are tough, and you're right. What I hear you saying is as it's shifting, that the other person isn't necessarily going to adjust easily or quickly, and that it can take a lot of perseverance to continue to be powerful in the conversation and know when to exit. I think that's the biggest key that I'm taking away, is maybe I need to be quicker at exiting a conversation that is just going around in circles.
100%. And it may be just you attempt to tell them about you and they get defensive, and you think, okay, it's kind of like working with a rescue animal or something. You're like, okay, you've been through a lot. All right. Okay. I'm not trying to hurt you. You look really scared. There's no reason for you to growl at me. There's no reason for you to be acting the way you're acting, except your memory. Mm-hmm. So that, we kind of build this traumatic experience with other people that we love into our exchange over time. And now I've decided to change. Like, I got a bunch of skills. I got a bunch of insight. I'm all ready to change. And everybody else is still traumatized. Everybody is still in the cycle that I used to participate in. And now, rather than extract myself in frustration and, being exasperated, I just say, hey, if you're done listening, I'll be done talking. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
And
that's great.
Yeah. And that way, you know, I'm showing that I'm patient, that I'm willing to stay engaged. I'm not punishing with, okay, you're not going to listen. I'm not going to talk. You know, I'm not hitting them with more trauma. I'm saying, okay, if you're done listening, then I'll be done talking. Is that what you want to do? Well, rah. Okay, that's what we'll do. That's what I'll do. And maybe we could try this later. I love you.
Yeah, I like that. It's one of those little phrases to keep in my tool belt, along with probably so and nice try and all the little
things.
phrases. So thank you. That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Victoria.
Yeah, it was a great question.
You.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
You too.
I think that's a common theme is, am I supposed to keep being the punching bag as I learn how to do this well? Because I'm trying to listen to you, but I would like a turn swinging the bat at your head as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sufficiently wounded. Your mom always said, I'm sufficiently wounded. Yeah.
Your analogy of the rescue animal.
Yeah.
All I have is Gollum in my head.
Oh, well, I just think of all, you know,
it's accurate.
When
it's very accurate.
Yeah, when you take in an abused animal, they behaved in this, what feels like craziness.
Totally.
And
I'm trying to help you.
Yeah, I watch this in foster families. You know, you bring in these kids and they're just traumatized, and they introduce these super strange behaviors to these families, and families are just scratching their head like, why is this happening? Yeah. It's like, well, you don't know the war zone that you just came from. Oh. And so when you shift up a relationship, it doesn't mean that, you know, next to nobody's on the same page as you, especially if you kind of dove into KYLO University, or you dove into Keep Your Love On and Unpunishable and maybe Imperfect Parenting, and all of a sudden you've now have a new paradigm, a new skill set. You come back and you go, hey, family, I'm ready to change. And they all just look at you like, you know, it's like, here we go. I don't understand what you're talking about. And so it does take patience, and you are going to take some licks, though. You know, you are going to take some people hurting you. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen. So brace yourself.
I think a lot of people are expecting it to be, they discover these tools. I'm doing it. They go to KYLO University. They walk out like, wow, that was
I'm so ready.
Weeks of
I'm so ready.
Bring it on. I'm going to do this. We're going to change the family culture. And then they're frustrated when they hit resistance. Mm-hmm. And they're frustrated when they hit their old culture butting up against the new culture that they're trying to promote. And so in the most purest way, they start trying to control it again, but in a good way, you know? And so they're the passive aggressive approach of, I bought you this book I thought maybe would be good for you. Yeah. You know, I think there's so many times where I meet with wives that find especially Keep Your Love On. Mm-hmm. And they are like, this is what's missing from our relationship. This is it. Mm-hmm. And they do a really poor job of presenting it to their spouse. So
I'm trying to solve a problem that you don't have.
Uh-huh. And so that's the key right there is they don't have the same problem that they're working on. Mm-hmm. And then they have more disconnect or more frustration, more resistance to this. And then a lot of these wives get discouraged, and then they kind of just go back to the old way. Yeah.
And you solved a problem when you discovered that, oh my gosh, you know, I'm not a powerful person. Oh my gosh, I am not winning love over fear. I have distance I don't have connection as the goal. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to communicate without jacking up the anxiety. I don't know how to control myself when things have gone bad and set boundaries. I don't know how to do it. So I've solved all these problems that I didn't know I had. And then I say, look at these problems I can solve for you. And now the problem that you don't realize you've just created it is this person now is afraid of being controlled by you.
Totally.
And so they're going to protect themselves from being controlled. And you think they don't want wisdom or they don't want health. Like, nope, they just don't want to be controlled by you.
Right. Yeah, that is probably, I don't know, it's a good 60% of what I walk into with wives is like, my husband doesn't want growth or health. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, how's the approach look like? Tell me what your approach is to this. We had this coaching call with this couple, Ben and I both did a little while ago, and she's like, he never, he's all, all these absolutes. And this guy, he quit trying because he can never win. And he's like, I just disengage because it seems like the safest option. We finally get to, he just has felt so controlled by everything that she discovers that she thinks that they all need. And it's not his problem that he's solving. So he's tried to participate, but he can't do it right. And so he just feels like a loser every single time. So he just like,
it's like being a spiritual leader in your house. You're supposed to be the pastor. Like, God, no, stop it. Just let him be him.
Yeah. So he just disconnected and she's super hurt. And she's like, he doesn't care about my needs and all those things. So when we get in there, I'm like, do you care about your wife's needs? He goes, of course I do. I just don't think that I can ever meet them because I'm doing it wrong every single time I try. So we were able to just kind of, I had to keep telling her that she needs to stop talking though, because I'm like, I already know where we are with you. I'm trying to figure out where we are with him. And we got to, he needs some hope that he could actually win in solving a problem that he wanted to solve, which he does want to feel more connected to her, but he doesn't want to read the 12 books that are stacked up next to his nightstand.
Yeah.
And so
she's not his audiobook.
And so, we're searching for, let's find a problem that we both want to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the best way for us to make momentum in our marriage is we're going after the same problem rather than you telling me how much I'm not working on something.
Yeah.
Which is, I know where it comes from. And I love that they find the revelation. I love that they find hope and they're like, oh, this is it. Let's change. But the approach does matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a necessary step to be aware of that. So, but I think Victoria's question was a great one. And I bet she's going to become an even better listener than she was before.
Yeah.
Well, it's all good.
So good.
Well, we do want to talk to you a little bit about our favorite sponsors of the KYLO Show.
Mm-hmm.
Pro-Life Coffee Roasters is a phenomenal coffee company that is doing exactly what is in the title. They are fighting for families and chasing after pro-life. So they are they're an organization with a mission, and they're also an organization with excellence on the mind. So
excellent. I like the espresso blend. I could drink it all day. If it didn't keep me up all night, I would just drink it all day.
It's true.
I love what's going on right here. I love the flavor and the it's just full, yummy.
They are full and they are yummy, as Danny says, but they are also on the scale of some of the top coffee roasters. They have won different sections. I don't even know. I fully understand the markings of coffee roasting,
specialty coffee.
Yeah, but they're in this category.
Yeah,
which means that they're doing something right.
They are. They've nailed it, and
I think you put it as they're like in the Napa Valley of coffee.
Well, that's the actual growing area in Ethiopia is considered for coffee what would be comparable to Napa Valley for wine.
Mm-hmm. I do, when I talk to Jeff and Mariah, the owners of the company, their heart for the country of Ethiopia is extreme. And I mean, they have dreams to go in and to sow into the people that are on the ground and chasing after revival and whole healthy families there. So we love what they're doing, and we are honored to have them as a sponsor of the KYLO Show. If you would like to get a discount and try out their coffee, you're going to go to prolifecoffeeroasters.com/KYLO, and that will get you 15% off.
Just like that.
Mm-hmm. So you can enjoy the same cup of coffee that we're having today. All right, let's jump into our next question.
Beautiful.
Hi, Jim. How are you doing today?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good.
Great. Thanks for calling.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for giving the opportunity. It's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, we heard that you've got a question, and we'd love to hear it.
Okay. So my question is that I was listening to a Dragon Slayer's podcast, and you were talking about targets in there. It was the one where you were when Ben was on there and he was talking about passivity and just his journey. So it was, and kind of, so it was at the end and you just started talking about having targets in, in your relationship and your communication. And I was just, that twigged my interest, in terms of what, I think I might know what you mean by that, but I just really wanted to, since the opportunity is there, to get more understanding about what those targets are, how to have those conversations, that kind of thing.
Great. Well, I mean, that's in the context of having a conversation where we've set up the style of our communication to where I allow the person who's talking to me to tell me about them. So that's going to dig into how they're feeling, how they're experiencing me, and what they need to feel, what they need to experience in the future of our relationship. So if they tell me that they feel hurt and disconnected over something I've said or something I did, I don't defend myself. I listen to that. I go, oh, okay, so that thing that I said hurt you. I'm sorry for that. And what do you need to feel going forward? Well, I need to feel protected from that reaction, from anger, from punishment going forward. So now I have a target. And the target is I am now going to manage myself when I feel hurt or scared, because that's usually why I got angry, and that's why I said what I said. So instead of hurt people, I'm going to say, ouch.
Oh.
So the next time we're in a conversation and you do something that hurts me, I'm not just simply going to hurt you back with my anger, because now I have a target that you need to feel protected and safe when I get hurt. And so instead of saying something mean or something controlling or something punishing, I'm going to say, ouch. And now she's going to know, oh, he's protecting me by letting me see him, instead of he's trying to control me from hurting him any further by intimidating me. And that's classically a dynamic that goes on in a relationship where I don't let you see me. I just try to control you. And I don't know what I'm protecting you from, because I don't really see you either, because you're scared to show me you. So all of this is going on in living color while we manipulate each other. So the change to that is for me to give you an opportunity to show me how you're experiencing me, and then listen and ask, what do you need to feel going forward? And this takes a little practice, because not everybody just, comes out of the gates with, I feel scared, I feel hurt, I feel powerless. And they usually say, I feel frustrated, I feel like, and then they go on to describe what they're thinking instead of telling me what they feel. So there's a lot of adjusting that goes on in communicating well, because typically we have very little experience doing it. We have much more experience trying to manipulate each other by building a case and seeking agreement, which is where it all falls apart, because we disagree. So the targets are, I need to feel loved, I need to feel safe, I need to feel protected, I need to feel connected, I need to feel valuable. I need to feel powerful. Those are the targets that we're setting up. And then I'm thinking about, well, how can I make her feel powerful? How can I help her feel valuable? How can I help her? How can I help feel connected with her? Now I have these targets. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I kind of assume that what is. So what I hear you saying is that what you're doing is you're not reacting defensively, which is, the justification and the blame and all that kind of stuff. But you're seeking to understand what's going on with the other person. You get to know them, and then you are honest in terms of how it's affecting you. So you're getting to a deeper level of intimacy where you're talking about just not, maybe not, you're not even necessarily talking about the issue. You're talking about the emotions and the feelings and needs behind the emotion. And that's the level you want to get to. Am I hearing you correctly?
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, because when you did share that, one thing that ran through my mind was, okay, so triggers. So if I'm looking for key things, so if my goal is to cause my relationship with my wife to be as healthy as possible, so what are the things that I need to target that I should be talking about? And I guess I'm thinking, I think about my role as a husband, right? Is one of the roles is to be initiator, be a catalyst in our conversations. And in my relationship with my wife, that's a reality. I have to initiate those conversations. So when I heard you talk about targets, it's okay. I need to look for areas that I need to target and really initiate conversations around those. Is that another way of looking at what you're saying as well?
Well, I mean, some of the leadership to the change would be you begin to show her what's going on with you.
Okay. Yeah.
And you begin to step into the light. You begin to model vulnerability. And then you ask her, like, what did you hear me say? And then she'll tell you, and you can nuance the conversation back and forth. And then you can ask her, is there anything that you want to tell me? Or you could ask her, how are you experiencing me? That's what I would do. Is how are you experiencing me? And then there's the initiation. The initiation is that you modeled vulnerability, and she got to participate in the change. And then you say, how are you experiencing me? And she now is going to have to catch up because maybe she's just not learned what you've learned or isn't ready to be this vulnerable yet. So you're going to provide leadership by being the most vulnerable in the conversation, by being honest, telling the truth. And, and then it's just going to be a matter of practice because it does take momentum. The best case scenario is we be patient and we realize that we're learning a new language with each other. So it'd be like, hey, honey, I'd like to start speaking French in the house. If we could just start speaking French, I learned 5 words. You want to learn them with me? Okay, that's a cat, that's a dog, that's water, and that's, and so it's going to take a little time before we're, even ordering in a restaurant.
So I would be So, okay, in terms of initiating, or it would be, I would lead by example and share my heart, right? So obviously that's spending time with myself and saying, okay, what is my heart saying, right? And figure that out, and then be able to share that with her, and then hopefully it would be reciprocal in terms of a back and forth, and then that question, because I mean, I was on the, I did a course with Ben, and he had that question as well. How are you experiencing me? So that's a good question. So then just to see what the response is. So I understand. Okay. So I understand that that's helpful in terms of targeting. So I'm not necessarily, oh, I'm going to go after you and we're going to figure all about you. And so that's not the way to go, obviously. But how intentional does that have to be if you're looking to establish that or strengthen that? Because for me, it's not establishing it. We do talk about different things, but it's something that I want to strengthen and I want to have more consistent. So is that the initiative part or the catalyst part in terms of I have to be more intentional in terms of having those conversations and not just waiting for them to happen organically?
Well, I mean, I'm just picking up from what you're putting down here that your wife's kind of quiet and she's kind of reserved and you're hoping for, more conversation and more. And so part of what you want to guard against is trying to get her to change who she is because I just know you'd be happier if you were more like me. It's like, that's not true. That's just not even true. She's happy getting to be her. But you can invite her. The intentionality would be around you showing her a safe place and then you inviting her into a safe place. That's the intentionality. Now, getting her to just, strip off everything and jump in the pool with you is not necessary. Just because you jumped in the pool naked does not mean she's going to.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Jim, these were really great. I appreciate the vulnerability in that, okay, this is, how do I do this and how do I do this well? That's what I keep hearing that you're asking. And I do love it. And I love that did a course with Ben. He's don't worry. I have helped that boy do his reps. So, he is a professional for sure. And I appreciate, again, all the engagement that you've had towards Loving on Purpose. And I would definitely encourage you to keep listening to Dragon Slayers because that's a great podcast. And I'm sure they'll cover even more of this stuff as they open up the next season.
Yeah.
So
thanks, Jim. Great question.
Yeah. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bless you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, your Dragon Slayer fan club showing up on the KYLO show.
I know. It's starting to happen. I saw the first tattoo the other day.
Wow, that was fast.
It was. Yeah, it was. I knew it was going to happen. I knew that. I knew that logo.
We have a KYLO light bulb as well. We have a few KYLO.
We do have some tattoos out there.
I mean, we don't have a few.
No, I don't have any tattoos.
Any of those.
I'm a blank canvas over here.
Yeah. So I can't hide my license plate as that,
Yeah.
But it's because I just love you so much. I wanted my license plate to be KYLO.
Yeah. Well, you have my old stuff.
I know.
You have my old stuff.
Totally true.
It's a hand-me-down.
I do. I love your, I'm picking up what you're putting down. It does sound like Jim's wife is more on the quieter side, but reserved. I don't know if that is because her personality or because she hasn't felt like safe enough to share. I don't know. It sounds like they're fairly connected. So I would think that she's just maybe a bit more quiet. But what about the invitation of, I would love to have more deeper, vulnerable conversations with you. Is that something you're willing to do? Like to express it as a need, not to change her, but to invite her into a place of that, he draws, it sounds like, a form of connection from the exchange of when we have these meaningful conversations.
Yeah, I think that the progression of the conversation is probably going to lead to something where he says, "I feel more connected to you when I get to see you," or I feel anxious sometimes not knowing what's going on inside there. And I need to feel yeah, what I don't want Jim to do is start, manipulating her into being him, which is easy to do. Be like, you need to talk more, lady. And it's it's much more like I feel so happy learning about you. I feel so peaceful understanding you. I feel so connected when I see you. Communicating like that instead of, what do I got to do to pressure you to talk more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think of a just different friends that we've had where how they find connection and they feel deeply connected is a bit different. And the way of going about getting that need met can very quickly turn into manipulation, or it just feel not. They just kind of shut off. The wife just kind of shuts off and plays the role and the part, but he's not getting what he needs. And so then he's turning into this.
Yeah. And some people, I'm one of these people. I don't need to talk. I get paid to talk. I talk in front of people all the time.
All the time. Is your dad as funny and walk around doing all these voices at home as he does on stage? I said, No, he's usually in a chair quiet by himself and we forget he's over there.
Yeah, I'm happy to engage. I'm happy to participate, but I really have no need to talk. Yeah. So it's the weirdest thing. I mean, I have lots to say. Mm-hmm. I have really strong opinions.
All the time.
I spend most of my time in my head. Mm-hmm. And if somebody comes over and sits in front of me, I put down whatever devices I have or whatever book I have or whatever, and I engage because I want to talk. I love people, but I do not walk around the house with my mouth just going crazy all the time. And some people do. Some people just walk around and it's almost like a kettle that you put a cap on or something. They're going to blow up if they can't keep talking. Like, I got none of that.
You did marry a woman that has communication as like her top 5 strength.
Yeah, I understand that. So we make a great pair, right? She talks and I listen, but at the same time, I understand that she needs to see me. Mm-hmm. So this would be the showing up, the courage to step into the light, I'm actually going to supply you with something I don't need, mm-hmm. which is the sound of my voice. And so I will say stuff. I'll just, how was your day? Or here's what happened today. Or she will say, how was your day? And I could easily go, fine. But instead, I'm thinking back through my calendar because why? She's a quality time girl. She wants mm-hmm. she wants to experience what she's interested in. And then she's going to tell me about her day and or the garden. We're going to go up and look at the garden and or we're going to talk about mm-hmm. some situation that needs a solution or whatever. I'm happy to do it, but I wouldn't think of just sharing all thoughts in my head.
So funny. That's why men and women are different. Like, you wouldn't share the things you're thinking about. We drive here to the studio. I just want you to know. And I wonder if he's going to say anything unless I say something. And usually when he does say something, you're telling me about the music we're listening to as you're whatever jamming. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we're about to go talk a lot, so I'm okay with it. But I just think it's funny. Like, this is what men and women are so different on so many levels, and this is one of them. Mm-hmm. And we're grateful for that here at the KYLO Show, that's for sure. And we are grateful for families that are chasing after being whole and healthy. I think it's what this beautiful part of creation that's what God wants. So let's chase after that together. Thanks for listening to The KYLO Show. To submit a question, go to thekyloshow.com. Never miss an episode by subscribing to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the Loving on Purpose YouTube channel.
And don't forget, whole healthy families are going to save the world. See you next time.